I guess I don't have to tell you, but our president, Donald Trump, has received more negative news coverage than any president in the U.S. history. But as Brett Brozell writes in his new book, the media's desperate efforts to destroy the president are really destroying their credibility.
Since the moment he declared his candidacy, Donald Trump has faced an unprecedented onslaught of attacks from the press. In Unmasked, Big Media's War Against Trump, conservative media watchdogs Brent Bozell and Tim Graham expose how a radicalized news media has made its chief goal to remove President Trump from office. It has become a direct threat to democracy. They show how the media knew there was no evidence of Russian collusion, but saturated the airwaves with thousands of reports about Russian collusion anyway.
That's enough. Put down the mic.
They list the top 10 Trump haters in the media, how the media has openly called for violence and smeared Trump supporters as racist. And they show how this open warfare against President Trump has destroyed the media's own credibility, as poll after poll show that Americans no longer believe them.
Well, Brett Brozell is joining us now from Washington. And Brett, it's good to have you with us. I remember some years ago, I was a law student at Yale University, and your father and Bill Buckley debated two Yale University law professors. One was Vern Countryman, the other was a fellow named Fowler Harper. And your father and Bill Buckley demolished those eminent professors. It was a fantastic thing. Have you heard about any of that?
Oh, they enjoyed it. They were tag teaming. They came out of Yale, and I think it was my dad who was the head of it, and Bill was his number two. Bill ran the newspaper. My father was his number two, and they were roommates. So they really enjoyed going out on the road and having some fun at other people's expense. I'm glad you remember that.
Yeah, well, it was a signal moment for us because, I mean, we loved debates like that, and they used the biggest hall they had, and it was jam-packed with people. And as I say, one was a professor in the business school, the other one was the tort professors. Anyhow, that's one of my memories about him. Well, look, tell us about some of the examples you've run of in this fake news compiled in your book. Can you give us some examples of what they're doing?
Well, we looked at many things, just diving down into this question, how bad has this treatment been? And your piece is spot on. There's no president in the history of the Republic who has received the treatment that this president has received. And you don't have to be pro or con with Donald Trump to appreciate that there's something very wrong here. When you've got as many bona fides as he has for his first administration, the number of jobs created, unemployment, record unemployment for blacks, for Hispanics, the accomplishments just go on and on. The one I liked, 217,000 illegal immigrants with criminal records were detained in Trump's first year. These are things that you don't hear. All you hear is negative, 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 89% negative, 92% negative, 91% negative, 94% negative. In fact, in last year, in total, it was 90% negative news coverage. Now, what kind of negative news coverage? You have the bias, and Pat, you and I have discussed this before, and this has been an historical problem, bias by omission, bias by commission, with reporters giving their spin. You also have false news, where people are in such a rush to run a story, they don't check and they find out it's false. But then finally, you have what the president has been saying, which is fake news. And reporters are pushing stories they know are false, designed only to hurt the president. They've gotten caught. They've thrown all ethics of journalism out the window.
Well, what was behind it? Is because he's challenging sort of the establishment, or is there something greater than that? What can account for these vicious attacks?
Well, we ask ourselves that question. Why, you remember the media v. Nixon, the media v. Reagan. There's always been an issue with the press and a Republican. Why is this so much worse now? I come up with three reasons. Number one, he was challenging Barack Obama's legacy and Hillary Clinton, who was going to solidify that fundamental transformation that Barack Obama had promised into the world of socialism. Donald Trump threatened that directly. Number two, They believe they created this monster as a celebrity from the West Coast with The Apprentice and whatnot. And they believe they had to take him down for making that mistake. Number three, he declared war on them. No president has ever declared war on the media the way Donald Trump has. And they don't like it because they're arrogant and they're aloof and they believe they are beyond reproach. Put those three things together and you've got a perfect storm of opposition toward Donald Trump.
Can you give us a couple of, for instances, where you say that it's definitely they have spun the media, the narrative falsely against the president? Can you give me a couple of examples, concrete examples that you have in mind about what they're doing? I'm afraid we've got we have an audio problem somehow. Maybe our guys can fix it. I hope. We're not all that technologically. Maybe they're trying to cut Brent's microphone off so he can't talk. He's saying some really good things. Can somebody help me?
Read the break.
Say what?
Go to break.
He said go to break and maybe they can get him back. I hope so.
Let's take a look at some numbers. 4 out of 5 people who have a stroke, their first symptom is a stroke. 80% of all strokes and heart disease, preventable. And $149 is all it takes to get screened and help take control of your health. We're Lifeline Screening. And if you're over 50, call this number to schedule an appointment for 5 painless screenings that go beyond regular checkups. We use ultrasound technology to literally look inside your arteries for plaque, which builds up as you age and increases your risk for stroke and cardiovascular disease. And by getting them through this package, you're saving over 50%. So call today and consider these numbers. For just $149, you'll receive 5 screenings that could reveal what your body isn't telling you.
And I'm going to tell you that's the best $150 I've ever spent in my life.
Lifeline Screening, the power of prevention. Call now to learn more.
Do you support the president? Do you support Trump's tax plan? Are you concerned it will affect your retirement income in a post-Trump era?
Help protect your financial future and call Annuity General for your complimentary book. From a leading financial firm that shows you ways to not run out of money, whether the market goes up or down. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms that can protect your money for a lifetime. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report summarizing the rates and benefits of annuities from hundreds of top-rated insurers, helping you find ways to get up to 33% more income in retirement. Invaluable advice for an uncertain age. That's right, 2 books both absolutely free for calling Annuity General. Help protect your financial future.
Call 800-885-3388. That's 800-885-3388.
Call now.
It seems like we've got a gremlin that somehow has broken in. Maybe it's part of the fake news to shut Brent Bozell up. But anyhow, he's back with us. We've got our audio back. It's not our fault. I think somebody's following you around. They don't want you to talk. I was asking, give me a couple of examples of this deceit you've pointed out to the media against Trump.
Sure. Let me give you one, a good one. Shortly after the election, Brian Ross of ABC reported breathlessly that it turns out that Michael Flynn, Trump's foreign policy advisor, had indeed gone to Russia, had been sent by Donald Trump to Russia to speak with the Russians. This was the absolute evidence of collusion. When this story came out, among other things, the market dropped 300 points, so billions of dollars was lost on the market. Everybody reported it breathlessly on his own, CNN, headline news, that sort of things. Turned out there was one little problem with that story. Donald Trump sent Michael Flynn to Russia after he was elected, as his role as national security advisor, doing exactly what he was supposed to do. Brian Ross was suspended, and he later resigned in disgrace. But the damage had been done. This is the kind of story that's been going on every single month. There's a story on this all along, Pat. And I know you've said it, and everyone has said it. There wasn't one lick of evidence of collusion, not one. And yet the media spent the entirety of 2017 and the entirety of 2018 cover this collusion thing. And all of them pointing to Robert Mueller and his report that was going to come out because he was a paradigm of honesty and statesmanship, and he was going to tell the truth. Fine. He came out with this report. Donald Trump was vindicated. There was no evidence of collusion. So what have they done? They threw him out the window, and then the Attorney General Bob Barr out the window, who said the same thing, and now they're back to covering collusion. Why? Because the Democrats, the socialist Democrats in Congress, want to run this because they want to see Donald Trump removed. So the media just switched, and they're now following the Democrats.
All right, last question. Do you think there is a move among the media that favors, is it socialism? Is it communism? Do they want to take down America? Is that their ultimate goal?
You know, Pat, that's such a good question. I believe that the media are leaders of the left. They're not followers of the left. Nancy Pelosi is not the leader. AOC and her silliness, she's not the leader. None of the Democrats running for president are the leaders. It's the national news media that have been promoting this agenda. And the question is, how powerful are they? Answer, just imagine they weren't doing it. That means the Republicans and the conservatives would be demolishing the other side. How dangerous is this? I think it's a direct threat to democracy itself. When you've got the media that are projecting a narrative to the American people that is false and deliberately false, that threatens the nation. What are they promoting? They're promoting Barack Obama's transformation. I do believe it's socialism, and I do believe that Bernie Sanders is a Marxist because he believes everything that Marxists believe. If the media were doing their jobs, they'd be reporting that. And that's not a biased proposition. That's telling the truth, which is something that's unfamiliar to them.
Red, thank you so much. I'm sorry about the glitch earlier, but you've gotten your message over. Folks, this book is called Unmasked, Big Media's War Against Trump. It's a book you ought to read, and I appreciate Brett Brozell for what he's doing to expose an agenda that can be very damaging to you in your future.